Hi there. As you're getting ready to return to school, I wanted to review some of the key differences that you will experience on your first several days as you get accustomed to the new COVID protocol and procedures to keep our community and our teachers safe and healthy. Um, all of these measures that we have in place are specifically and purposely created so we keep the healthiest and safest community that we possibly can. And it is hard and it does take more effort and dedication. However, as we have gone through the first 6 weeks of being back in the building and reopened, we see that we very quickly have gotten into the rhythm and the routine of implementing these protocol. And in fact, there have been several outcomes that have made our jobs in the classroom caring for children a little easier. One of those is that we have someone that does snack prep and all the dishes and all of the laundry, so classroom teams don't need to do that. We have smaller groups of children, which really enable us to have more time with each child and to implement these safety protocol. And we have shortened the day, so we only have one shift of staff, and that makes all of the logistics and operations so much easier as children are in that one classroom for the entire day for both the school day and for extended day. And children are also now assigned specific drop-off and pickup times. And outside of those times, we are not allowing. So early pickup or late drop off are not allowed. And that really makes it clear and simple and straightforward, especially after 3 o'clock, to know when children are leaving, to prepare them to leave the environment calmly and safely, as well as consistently at the same time every day. We really see that impacting the way that we're able to support and guide children during the school day. And finally, as any non-essential visitor is not permitted in the building, including parents who now pick up and drop off at the outside entrances to the school building. We see our hallways and our entire school maintaining a calm environment and energy throughout the day, only because the increased foot traffic obviously increases that energy and that dynamic. So having that ability to dismiss children from the classroom very calmly, without the transition that we saw normally during pickup, especially when parents were picking up at classroom doors, that is really minimized and has been a nicer flow throughout the day for children. So some of the key differences that you will experience when you come back to school. First and foremost, all the staff are working the same shift, starting at 7:45 a.m. With a 1-hour lunch break and wrapping up your shift once children have been dismissed at 5. It is quite a long work day, and we appreciate everyone's dedication and commitment, understanding that with all of this COVID and the increase in time that it takes to get into the building for safety and health reasons, that 7:45 arrival time is very important as children begin arriving at 8 a.m. and we need to be ready to greet them and their parents at our doors of the school. The staff arrival process is a specific process, and we've created a separate video for you to watch to be prepared to undergo that process as you enter the school building for the first time. As it shares in that video, all of your personal items must be stored in your individually assigned cubby at the front desk. And this includes your packed lunch. We've moved the microwave and the coffee maker and tea kettle from the staff lounge to the front desk area, so you can still use those items to heat up your lunch or have a cup of coffee during your lunch break. However, we don't yet have a refrigerator available, so any lunch needs to be in an insulated bag with an ice pack if you need it to stay cool in your cubby. Um, and thank you so much for understanding. We're really trying to create as much distance and safety for everyone as possible. So that's really why we're limiting the use of the staff lounge. You may take a cleaned and sanitized water bottle to your classroom every day. However, please remember that hot beverages are still not allowed in classrooms, as they've always not been allowed in classrooms. And you must wear a smock when you enter the building, part of the arrival process, and when you're in the building with children at all times. And you will change into a new cleaned and sanitized smock after any physical interaction with children or when re-entering a classroom. And these cleaned and sanitized smocks are available at the front desk in a sealed bin for you to make sure are stocked in your classroom throughout the day. For easy access for you. And we have a wonderful person who is helping us with the laundry, and she has them cleaned and sanitized and ready to go at the front desk every day. When you are at school, we do provide a mask, and we have a specific mask because it is found to be the most effective and the safest. So it is these green masks that are double lined, and a clean filter is put in every day. And these are cleaned and sanitized nightly, so they're available every morning for you when you arrive to school, or if you leave the building during lunch and you come back, you can put on a clean and fresh one. We also make sure that we wear the mask all day when social distancing between staff members is not an option. And we wear them no matter what when we are with the children. And we have a couple things to make them a little bit more comfortable. We have these silicone straps that are individually assigned. So you'll be assigned one and your name will be written on it for you to sanitize and keep in your cubby when you leave. And we also have these silicone inserts that you can use to insert, and again, individually assigned, that are sanitized by you and kept in your cubby using Lysol spray, and labeled with your name. And these make both breathing and talking louder much easier. So if you want, they are a little bit uncomfortable. It's a trade-off, so you can choose if you would like either of these options, but they're both available for you. Mask wearing for children is a common question. So all primary children wear masks all day. They have several options in the classroom if they are separate. So if they have 6 feet of distance between themselves and a classmate, they don't need to wear the mask, or they don't need to be reminded to keep it on their nose. However, most children, most of the time, they're absolutely happy wearing the mask with minimal reminders or redirection. I would say most children, 95% of the children, are wearing the mask properly all throughout the day with no direction or reminders needed. They have really taken that on, and it's been amazing to see how resilient they are and how it's just become part of their normal day-to-day routine, and also just kind of part of their clothing now. They sometimes need a reminder how to, put it up over their nose, but that's typically because the mask might be too big. And that's something you can work with the family on, finding the right sized mask if that is the case. And all classrooms do have sun hats and shields, which are used when going outside. And however, mostly the primary children just prefer the masks, even on the rooftop. They just keep it on and enjoy wearing them. But for the toddlers and specifically, they have the masks that they can wear, or the sun hats and shields they wear, especially when going on neighborhood walks, to have that extra protection. Also, staff, all teachers, you will be assigned a specific location to take your lunch break. throughout the building, and you'll clean it and sanitize it after use. There's a little setup for each lunch station, including Lysol wipes and hand sanitizer and Lysol spray that you'll use to spray it down to sanitize it for the next person. And it's very important that we adhere to these assigned locations. And this is for your own health and safety, and that of all our other team members. So if we're trying to decrease the risk of exposure or the amount of people that you're exposed to at school every day at the minimum number possible. And by knowing where every person is in the building at all times, we're able to then be able to do contact tracing if we need to in the future, and let you know if you've had an increased risk of exposure. So that's really why we're doing that. And that's why it's so important to make sure that you adhere to that. In addition to assigned lunch locations, classroom teams are also assigned specific days to use the print room for the same reasons. And your classroom is assigned 1 day per week to use that space. Drop-off and pickup protocol for parents is assigned at specific locations, again, at the front entrances of the building or the rear entrance. And we have separate videos to show you where those locations are per program and per classroom. And a reminder, children are not allowed to be dropped off after 9 a.m., nor are they allowed to be picked up early. And this is because pickup especially is logistically planned ahead of time. So we know exactly where every child is and where teachers are. So that's a very specific puzzle. And we also are minimizing the in and out of the building as much as possible. Classroom groups cannot mix with other classroom groups. So in order to keep each classroom separate, there are new routines that we're following to use the rooftop or to use the terrace specifically. So some classrooms may take recess earlier in the morning or later in the morning, depending on their assigned time. And the same follows for the gross motor space. And the maximum number of children allowed is 15 per primary classroom, is 12 per toddler classroom, and 10 per infant classroom. And with a waiver from DOH due to COVID, classroom teams break themselves during afternoon naps, again, to minimize the amount of any ins and outs from classrooms to minimize that risk of exposure to increased individuals. However, we're always available on the radio should anything be needed or happen. However, classroom teams are breaking themselves during that. There is a hand washing log that is tracked and kept in classrooms, and this is a requirement from the Department of Health. We're not trying to micromanage, we just have to have classroom teams fill it out. It also includes sanitized initial that has been completed as well. And you will wash your hands as soon as you enter the classroom, rooftop, or gross motor room. So basically anytime you enter a new space, you'll wash your hands throughout your time in the classroom, before and after serving snack, which snack is served to students by teachers. Students do not serve themselves snack. You'll wash your hands after cleaning and sanitizing any materials or objects, before and after using the restroom, and before and after any breaks, in addition to any other times that you're washing your hands. And hand sanitizer is available all throughout the building. We've installed some dispensers and we have a stockpile of hand sanitizer, so you can use it to wash, or you can use it to sanitize your hands when you may not be able to wash your hands, like going in and out of the elevator. You'll also maintain 6 feet of distance between yourself and your coworkers as much as possible. And while in the classroom with students, we aren't we aren't saying we can't be near children or be touching children. You may still hug a child. That's why you're wearing a smock, to be able to change it and then wash your hands. Children are still allowed to hug each other and then encouraged to wash their hands afterwards. We are really not, children still need social interaction, and there are times that we need to comfort a child. So absolutely we are doing that. And that's why we're using and relying on PPE, especially to keep our teachers safe, ourselves safe, and our students safe. Classroom materials are cleaned and sanitized frequently, and there's a separate video for more info on what that looks like. Please watch it. And children are not allowed to bring in any items from home into the classroom except their lunch, their water bottles, which are sent home daily to be cleaned and sanitized and filled and brought back, and any extra clothing in their backpacks. And as a teacher, as any teacher or admin in the building, we all have 3 changes of clothes, complete changes of clothing, labeled with our names, for a quick change if any bodily fluids get on our clothing that we can quickly change. And these are kept in your classroom in a Ziploc bag. So you have quick access, and anytime you use one, obviously you keep that replenished at all times. This is what we implemented last year as well. So a reminder that you do need those 3 changes of clothes, and especially now, it's very important. Some new hygiene measures. So fingernails may not be longer than 1/4 of an inch. And this is specifically because this is a healthcare protocol that we are following, so we can really just make sure we're the safest as possible. Non-essential jewelry like earrings, necklaces, or rings, excluding wedding or engagement rings, are not allowed. And again, we're just really seeking to minimize the amount of objects that we're bringing into a classroom that need to be sanitized frequently. And often, our jewelry is not sanitized or cleaned as much as we would want it to be naturally, right? Long hair is required to be secured behind your face and neck. As you can see, mine has grown tremendously during COVID, so wearing it pulled back during the day to keep it away from any germs that may be collected. It's harder to sanitize your hair than it is, obviously, your hands. And finally, we have a few new forms since we are a smaller team and we're really trying to support and serve you as much as possible in classrooms while staying organized and, accomplishing all of these various tasks. So there's a new admin request form, an order request form, and a facilities request form for you to complete. And those will be shared with you for easy access links. And we are all in this together. And this is, like I said, a commitment on all of our parts to make sure that we are following the safety and health protocol at all times, wearing our masks properly, wearing PPE, washing our hands, and not coming to school if we're feeling ill. And there will be a separate video about illnesses. But it's so important that we are truly in this together. And that's how we stay safe and healthy and maintain our community moving forward. So we cannot wait to see you. We hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out in the coming days. But otherwise, we will see you very soon. Bye.